Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. In today's video we're talking about my trading update or financial update off the back of the outbreak of coronavirus or COVID-19. I'm going to be taking you through my strategy of what I've been doing, my results so far, and I'm talking right now. It is Monday the 2nd of March 2020. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you an update on the kind of trades that I've been making around this COVID-19 outbreak. I'm aware that it's a play on stock markets, which some people might feel uncomfortable with. I guess I don't feel great about making money off of a downturn in the market, and certainly not off anybody's pain or suffering. But at the same time, as I mentioned in another video about the ethics of investing in downturns in general, I think that it's better that you and I, aren't left with no money and no assets, as well as have the devastation of infections and pandemics like coronavirus. So without further ado, I'm going to talk about some of the trades that I've been making. And for those of you who aren't aware of options and how they work, they are complicated. They are extremely complicated, I would suggest, especially if you're just used to trading long and trading stocks, or maybe even just buying funds or indexes. Trading options is particularly challenging. I'm going to be talking about my approach and what I've been learning. I know that I am a beginner at options, so if you're a beginner as well, I guess you can follow my journey about how I've been doing it and if I've been doing well or not. To summarize about options and this COVID-19, I think options work really well if you're looking to hedge your portfolio. For example, if you have a lot of stocks that you've bought long, I guess you're investing thinking that they're going to go up and you can profit from that move, then options are a great way to hedge your portfolio. Like if you have $100,000, let's say, in long stocks, or even if you just have $10,000 in long stocks or indexes, or indeed in your pension, you could consider having a $1,000 option, for example, or even less. There are cheaper options out there. It works better if you've got a larger portfolio because there's a minimum size requirement for buying options, which I've been finding as well, depending on where you're living. For example, I use IG Index in the UK, and to short the FTSE 100 costs quite a lot of money. The minimum size contract is 5 contracts, which at the moment costs, depending on your strike price, which is something when the option hits or starts, if you like. I'm not going to go into the details really of options right now, but just to give you an example, if you want to short the FTSE in the UK using IG Index, it costs over £2,000. Whereas if you want to short the Australian markets, you can do it for as little as £200, and that's the margin or the deposit you put in. It's the money you risk if it goes against you and if your options don't work out. So those differences are quite big. I'll talk a bit about them later on. So why would you use options? Like I mentioned, you can use it to hedge your portfolio. If you have a pension, or if you have savings, or if you're worried about things going down, you can use options. You can bet on things going down, and they're called put options, PUT options. They are incredibly complicated. If you are going to play with options, learn about them, watch other YouTubers. I'll try to put some down in the comments below. There's a couple I've listened to that are okay. I think you can learn from doing, but make sure to limit your risk by not investing too much in options, because they are extremely volatile, they lose money over time, and they can expire completely worthless. So without further ado, they don't come risk-free. So they're good for hedging. If your stock portfolio is going down and you have some put options, you can do very, very well. What are the other things I'm doing in this market with coronavirus and COVID-19? I'm using shorts. That's when instead of buying long, the opposite, you're buying short. You're buying stock and you're borrowing it to sell it later on, and you pocket the difference if you like. But to keep it simple, you're just betting on the stock going down. So I'll talk about today. Today has been my biggest trading day ever. Now I have done investing and long-term investing. I've done quite well I've done okay for that. Certainly I've learned how to do long-term investing. I found many stocks that have gone up multiple times, known as multi-baggers. But in terms of trading, this has been my biggest day. So I'm going to walk you through what happened today. I decided that I wanted to short the S&P 500, the large index in the United States, covering the 500 largest companies, I believe. I could see that the growth in cases of COVID-19 or coronavirus, it is growing there, and I was looking for a way to profit in a way from the market downturn. So I expect the market to fall, so I wanted to have a short, and I actually used an option for that. I used several options. I'll see if I can show you the results here. Right, so this is today. So yeah, on the March 2020 options, which expire on the 3rd week of March, right now we're at the 2nd of March. By the time I load this video, it'll likely be after March, because I've got so many videos that I'm filming at the moment. But just for reference, I bought them with a view, because I thought they were quite cheap, to be honest. If I open up the deal ticket, I bought them at 95, the premium was 95. I'm not going to go into the details. If you don't understand options, then definitely check out some other videos. I'll put them in the link description. But the premium was 95. I bought the markets before the US markets were open. The FTSE was up about 1%, and later on I sold that option before the S&P market opened in the same day for a £391 profit. That was pretty good. I was happy with that. And later on, probably 15 minutes later, I sold another option that I bought. I bought 2 options this morning. I bought the 2900 puts. Yeah, 2900 put on the S&P 500, and you might be able to see that here. Actually, let's see if I can focus this. And I made some profit there as well. So I made £299 profit, and that was all before 11 AM, I believe. So what did that make me do? Well, I was thinking, I have other options. I have individual share options. I have options with Marks and Spencer's, one of the largest retailers in the UK currently. And I've been having these options since October, actually, and they've been out of the money. They haven't been in profit for months, and I was expecting them not to really make any money, to be honest. I was actually concerned that they would actually lose money, that I'd be down by 1,000 or something. Instead, I decided I would cash in on some of those options, and I've sold 2 options right here. I don't know if you can see those. I'll see if I can. You might be able to see that. But I cashed in on 2 of those options, and the collective total was around £420. So just from this account, profit for today. I did sell a stock that I was long, primarily because I'm concerned about retailers going down, and I have own a retailer called Cakebox, and I sold some of those because I was leveraged long. So it's a tricky position to be in when retailers are falling. I think coronavirus may impact retailers. At the moment, you can go around, go on public transport, you can go into shops, you can buy things, and everything's fine. But I expect that if it gets worse in the UK, there might be less people traveling, there might be less people buying things in shops, and that is probably going to impact retail profits considerably. So I wanted to get out of that position. So what I've done today is I've made about 1,000 in this account, 1,000 UK pounds, but I sold £325 of Cakebox, so I made about £700 profit in that account. What else did I do then? I decided that I wanted to reinvest some of those profits because I think that markets are going to fall more. So I decided to buy some options for, again, the same. I bought 2 options for the US stock markets, one for March, again, the 3,000 puts, and I bought one for June as well. They're not in profit at the moment, but I effectively got them, more or less got them for free. I should probably do this in order. In the account I've just showed you, I made the money from the S&P 500 and by selling Marks and Spencer's options, which I put on in October. And I decided that I was going to sell some of the June options and actually buy some other options that are a bit later in the year. That just gives me more opportunity to make a bit of money. I then decided to rebuy some of those options on the indices on the S&P 500. So I've got small contracts, small sizes on that. I do expect the markets to go down this week and next week. I hope they do, because these options in the American markets are pretty expensive. They're just over £1,000, so it's not risk-free. It's really not risk-free. What else did I do? I then looked at the Australian markets. I saw that Australia has a growing number of cases. Again, I'm filming this on the 2nd of March. So it seems like they have popular cities as well, Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane. And I think that they'll have more cases and they'll be equally as affected. So I decided to actually put some puts on there. I went with March, and actually in retrospect I probably wouldn't have chosen March. I was actually trying to do the same strategy as before, which was flipping them before the market opened. Because actually when the market opened with the S&P 500, it went up. So my options would not have been valuable, but I sold them before the market opened. So I was trying to do the same thing with Australia. I was thinking that I actually thought that the UK would fall. This would trigger the Australian markets to fall. Actually, the UK market hasn't fallen today. It may fall in the coming days because Boris Johnson has talked about, curtailing people's movements and things like that, encouraging businesses to allow employees to work from home. As of filming, it hasn't happened yet, but it may happen in the future. Probably when you're watching this, it may have already happened. We'll see. So I put some on the Australian markets. We've got some contracts there for March, and also France. France has the largest number of COVID or coronavirus cases at the time of speaking, March 2nd. And I thought I'd like to see how much that would cost. And it actually doesn't cost that as much money as the US, for example. The price of the margin or the margin requirement for France was around £600. And I got half a lot, so I got 0.5 contracts. Which doesn't sound a lot, but it's more than it's larger than the size I've got in the US. So I think that's interesting. I think on the French economy and the French market, they're already curtailing public movement. They've stopped the big events. A lot of events are being cancelled. So I think the economy will be impacted. And I think one way to profit from that is to short the indice. I don't know of many French stocks, so I decided to short the indice. So, overall, that's with that one account. I also have a trading account that I'll open up now and I'll tell you how I did with that. So I was buying and selling in my trading account. I have two accounts. I have one which is, more longer term for the options and things, and I have a trading account as well. And if I look at today, so I made a gross profit today of £240 sterling. After transaction cost, it'll probably be more like £140. And actually at the end of the day, I'm shorting positions here. So I'm shorting Boohoo, which is a UK retailer, which actually I recommended to go long about a couple of years ago when it was around 50p. It's now £4. But I'm thinking it might be affected because I imagine their supply chain is very China focused. Marks and Spencer's, as you know, I've got short options, I've got put options, betting on the stock going down. I'm also shorting the stock itself, so I'm betting on the actual stock price going down. And I've got some shorts on the FTSE 100. I'm not using the options, as I mentioned, because it's way too expensive to use FTSE options for someone like me, a newbie in this game. But I am doing it, I am shorting them. And I guess to summarize with this, I am new to trading. I know a little bit about the fundamentals of investing, but this day trading stuff I don't know much about. I've done it a little bit. It's very, very volatile. It's especially volatile at the moment. And I guess we'll see. I've made a little bit of money today, and probably one might have suggested to oneself, bank the profit and never do it again, because most people don't make money in these kinds of instruments. But I do want to learn a bit more about this because I guess I want to be better prepared for the next time. And I've noticed when I do buy options and short things, I guess I'm learning more about myself. I'm learning what I'm good at. I'm learning when I make better trades, and I think it's interesting. So I make the analogy that I spent a lot of money on university and I didn't really learn that much that I can apply, whereas I'm learning a bit more about financial instruments now, like options and shorting and things like that, and hedging a portfolio. And I think that's quite useful, even if I don't make a significant profit, even if I lose money. I'm hoping not to lose money, but at the moment it's kind of affordable if the things don't go the way that I want them to go. But in summary, I'm shorting individual stocks like retailers. I expect people, if it gets worse in the UK, I expect Boris Johnson, the UK Prime Minister at the moment, to say that he encourages companies to work from home, employees to work from home. And maybe in the future he might even say that a certain size company might have employees work from home to stop the spread of the disease. Maybe public transport might be limited. Maybe events might stop, that kind of thing, which I think would have an impact on retailers like Marks and Spencer's, because people buy food from there every day. They buy lunch and dinner and that kind of thing. And if they're working from home, they're not going to be able to do that. And secondarily, their supply chains are very China focused. I believe on the clothing side, they have clothing suppliers from China, Turkey and Bangladesh. I haven't seen if they've got any cases, but obviously China has loads. So we'll see what happens. I don't know how well I'll do. I think that options are really good for extremely volatile markets. You only really make money if there's big moves, but if there are big moves, then you can make good money. I think it especially helps those that have money already. I don't have a huge amount of money. If I did, then you can make a lot if you have a lot, if that makes sense. Specifically with options, I think with other kinds of investing like shares and things, you can still make money with a couple of thousands. With options, things have to work out or you lose a lot of money. Famous investors like Peter Lynch, and Warren Buffett don't touch options because, well, I guess because they don't need to. But also, you know, they did so well over many years. Actually, when I think about it and think it through, I'm generally a long investor, a buy and hold investor, maybe a cyclical investor. I've done some videos about cyclical stocks and house builders and things. I was not interested in shorting, I was not interested in options. So for me, this is an education, I'm learning. If you are an investor like me and you've done, you know, buying long and you've bought shares and indices and maybe you have a pension, and you're interested in learning more about this, definitely check out other YouTubers about this. Maybe consider subscribing to my channel. This channel isn't going to be overtaken by, you know, by trading. I hope not anyway. It's a diverse channel around self-improvement, personal growth, learning. You know, I believe that everybody can develop and learn. I think that trading is probably one of the hardest things I've ever done. I've done lots of things that are difficult. Breakdancing was pretty difficult. I learned to skateboard, I learned to DJ. I've taught myself some other stuff as well. But I think trading is interesting because it's not just about me. Whereas, you know, dancing or languages, it's just the amount of effort that I put in generally correlates to results. Whereas with trading, you could argue that it's not the amount of effort you put in, it's not how hard you work. It's instead, it's kind of how well you think. So it's looking at lots of different factors, maybe other markets when you're looking at options and things like that, and trying to, I guess, predict the future in a way, which I tend to, you know, I can't do it all the time, but I tend to be right like more than I'm wrong. So I would guess maybe like 60 times out of 100 when I'm making forecasts and things. It's certainly in the past. So I guess I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I'm going to try and see if I can predict where specific stocks and indices go. Sadly, I don't have money to do all the stocks that I would like to short. I would like to have put options on EasyJet, on Disney, on a lot of different firms, but I just don't have the money. For some of those firms, you need a lot of money to short and use options. Specifically in the UK, some of the UK brokers just don't allow you to do it for less than 2,000 or 3,000. Listen, if you're an options trader or a trader and you know you've got better platforms than me, and you know a bit more about where you can get smaller sizes for options and shorting, do let me know. I've heard Robinhood is coming to the UK. I believe that has lower fees. I'll be very interested when that lands. Anyway, this has been a really long video. It's just supposed to be an update on the COVID and coronavirus trading strategy that I've been doing and some of my results. If you're interested in my other videos, guys, I have other videos about learning about saving and investing. I may in the future have other videos about trading. I'm an average person. Average people can achieve better than average results if they listen to the right people and learn the right things. And I also believe that knowledge is power, especially the right kind of knowledge. And that in general, progress is everything. I'll see you guys in the next video. Make sure you check out my other videos for tips, tricks and hacks, as well as other pros and cons.